Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of MindBody TV. I am going to share something so potent, so powerful to begin to shift your physiology and literally resolve symptoms, illness, fatigue, like change your constitution so you can heal and live in health and well-being, becoming more vital and resilient as you go forward in life. So welcome. This episode is about, is your identity making you sick? Is your idea, like your self-concept, your idea of who you are, actually generating the physiology that keeps you sick? Who are you without your illness? So, one of the things I've seen as a physician is that the people I would see who were most stuck in their illness and like long term symptoms, their life started to revolve around that illness, and they develop an identity around the disease. And then, if it even was available for them to heal, this sense of identity and this sense of this like sick self actually would be something keeping them tied to the past, keeping them tied to the illness. So, have you experienced long term chronic symptoms? Are you ready to let them go? Who would you be without these symptoms or this disease? So, you really want to start to look at that because it seems kind of obvious, but in your cellular, in your unconscious, these can be linked. So, welcome. I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from. I am a physician, if you don't know me, who has studied mind body medicine for decades of my life, used it to personally heal disease, pain, all kinds of chronic stuff from my body, went on to become an emergency medicine physician, trauma and critical care medicine. But really, it just taught me how essential our being present in the body, being connected within is to true emergencies and like life and death situations or anything important that we're dealing with, that the essential ingredient is, am I here connected in my body? You don't want to live in the fight or flight state. You want to live in the presence of that healing state where your physiology is balanced, where you are awake, alert, present, but not in that like fight. It makes a huge difference in everything happening in your body, and you can change this at any time. So, welcome. I'm really, really glad to have you here. And I want you to just be like, receptive. It's really hard to see, like, wait a minute, what do you mean I'm identified with my illness? I don't want to hang on to this illness. Nobody wants to consciously hang on to like bad situations. It's that sometimes the unconscious is not updated. It doesn't know. So if ever in the past there was like, I'm never gonna, share my heart again, or I'm never gonna trust anybody, or screw them, and like you make these internal vows. Anytime we have a commitment coupled with passion or strong emotion, it gets linked into the cells. And now your cells and your unconscious system are propagating that programming over and over again. And guess what? So many of us have unconsciously made these commitments, made these vows that shut our system down, that block us from healing, from recovering, rejuvenating, and being fully alive. And it is so easy to reverse these. So easy, you guys. So one of the things I'll ask is just be kind of gentle with yourself, because if you make this wrong, your system's going to protect you and like, no, you don't understand me. And you'll keep these things in place just as a way to not battle your own judgment. So, hey, what if we just don't judge any of it and then we can check it out? Huh, maybe I have done that. Let's check it out. And it's so much easier to release things from the system when you're not making yourself wrong. So, thank you for being here. Let's go. So, the first thing I want to share is, what is identity? Identity is our sense of our own self, our beliefs, our likes, our dislikes, our memories, our preferences, personality. That's all logged in to the computer system of our brain and nervous system. Okay. So that programming of like, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, this is what I'm not, these are my memories, these are my beliefs, these are my judgments, is actually a physiologic arrangement, right? At the basic level, it's neurologic patternings, what wiring is put in place here for how your brain is connected with your body, and also what are the physiologic signals being sent to your body every moment. Okay, so obviously this is so important if you're trying to like release pain or get your energy back or like just stay fit or reverse a disease. So when you can unwind some of these patterns, your system can access health. Boom, it can change. Your brain is neuroplastic. And there's a lot of things I'm doing in my work to enhance that neuroplasticity, meaning the changes and upgrades of your brain and nervous system. And it's easy, you can do this. So let's take a look at some of the beliefs, ideas, memories, traumas that are in your system. And if you would share some of these, go ahead and type it in. Was there anything that happened when you were young that could be significant? Is there anything that happened before you developed the symptoms? Or maybe there's nothing in your life timeline, but there's like, oh, it happened when I was, I don't know, 28. Is there something that happened for your mother, your father, someone in your family along their timeline at that age? Because it's crazy, but medical science has shown our unconscious system can activate and turn on the codes for a disease when it's patterned into our nervous system. That's the timeline I'm on. Like, oh, after you get to this age, it's all downhill. Or, oh, my mom started developing blah, blah, blah at this age. It's a subconscious message to your cellular that that's what's supposed to happen for you. And it's crazy, but like your subconscious is so strong and it's listening. And so for so many people, they'll develop the symptoms or an actual disease at exactly the same age and timeline as a parent had in their life. So it's not always like, oh yeah, this thing that happened to me, it might be really unclear. So just be a little bit curious, like, could there be something my system is patterning itself after, and my own beliefs, my own upbringing, or even if it's not your belief, but you're like the people who raised me believed, or the society I was in, or the religion, or blah, blah, blah. Because I'm telling you, your subconscious was listening to them as if they were God, as if they were the absolute truth. Until we're like 6 years old, we just like a sponge. We don't even question it. So you want to look, what could have gotten downloaded in my system around, whoa, I'm this kind of person, or I'm not that kind of person. It's totally crazy. But when we release the identity and we begin to access the true self, which is like, there's no conclusions, there's no judgment, there's no past telling me who I am. There's just the now. What's true now? Oh, that's so funny. It made me laugh. Oh, when you said that, it made me feel tension. Oh, wow. When I think about blah, 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 it makes me happy. I mean, there's something happening always in the now, but usually our system is plugged into the program of the past. That's where the faulty physiology comes in. You don't need to do that anymore. So one thing I want to explain up front is it's not just your physiology, like neurotransmitters, hormones, inflammatory cascade, immune system, gut microbiome. You are emitting an electromagnetic frequency. So that affects everything around you. You ever just get a vibe and you're like, oh my God, this person's awesome. What a high vibe person. Like, I feel so good when I'm around them. Or like me, we have this amazing orthodontist. And whenever I go there or even think about this person, I feel so good. And I first realized it when I went and sat in the office. I got Invisalign like several years back. And as I sat there waiting, I had like all these amazing inspired ideas. So I'm writing and writing, like, oh my gosh, writing stuff down. Then I had my appointment. It's absolutely beautiful. He's an incredible person. But it wasn't until I went back for my second appointment and the same thing happened. I just sat there in the waiting room. It was like, oh, ding, 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 ding. All these amazing, it's like it activated my brain to work in a higher way. So that's a high vibe person, right? And he's instilled that in the community in the office. Add that to the fact that the office is created with this, like, it's it's not angular, so the windows go in like a hemicircle. So all the chairs, everybody's in a hemicircle, all looking out at this amazing view. But that's known in the art of feng shui and the science of feng shui to create harmony in an environment. So there's a lot more flow. So there's a lot of things going on there that make it like a really high frequency environment. So the point I'm making is your system is not only receiving the energy and frequency of the beings and spaces around you, you are also emitting an electromagnetic frequency. So I have a little pictorial of that, right? We know from science there are energy centers in the body where energy kind of like conglomerates higher levels of our energy up and down through the central channel. The heart has been shown to be the most potent and powerful electromagnetic center in the body. It's like thousands of times more potent magnetically, hundreds of times more potent electrically than the brain, which is like got so many connections through the body. So that's pretty amazing. And in the study of heart math, you're activating that. So easy to do. Okay, so the point is like, you're not just like chemicals and physiology, you're also pure energy. And that is felt by everyone and everything around you. So if you want to change any circumstance, situation, something really stuck, this is where you want to go. Because this is what affects the physical material of your life, like your money or that relationship conundrum that just, I don't know how to unwind this, or I want to be successful in my work, and you just want to be in alignment that allows the synchronicities to come in. So this is so, so important for that. Okay, so chemically, physiologically, and also energetically, we're making major changes here. And by the way, you can go to drkimd.com, and there's a quiz on my front page on the website where you can kind of get some information to like do a self-evaluation, answer a few short questions that will help you get started where like, what's the biggest nugget in my energy system that I'm ready to resolve? And it will give you a tool to do exactly that. So definitely go to drkimd.com and do the quiz, and it will bring you through this process a little more specifically for you. Okay, so identity is all the signals, the physiology, the chemistry of like those memories, those traumas, and that history, those belief systems, and all your ideas about who you think you are, right? Like, oh, I could never do that because I'm a blah, blah, blah kind of person. It's not actually serving you. So could you just like loosen up around some of those conclusions and let them go? Because maybe it was true once, but it's not necessarily true anymore. And it's not serving you to hang on to that programming. Okay, so the second thing I wanted to touch base in is we can rewrite our past so we don't have to carry it forward. So emotions, past experiences, or traumas. Trauma is really just something I haven't fully integrated. Like I had an experience, it put my system into like fight or flight freeze on some level, and I have not yet unwound it fully. That's all it is. Trauma does not mean this is who you are. I'm a blah, blah, blah survivor. Who would you be if you were willing to let that go? Right? Are you still a strong person? Are you still a courageous person? Are you still a person who could celebrate him or herself? Absolutely. You don't need to take that forward in order to remind yourself how strong and powerful and courageous you are. Keep it if you like, but I'm telling you, it is going to become a limitation. So rewriting the past is a way to complete the unresolved emotions, experiences, or traumas so that your system knows I am well, I am healthy, I am supported in my life, and I am free to be and express the truth of who I am. One of the most powerful things that we can do is open our system. Soften your body just a little and breathe more fully and feel the moment. You cannot open your heart and feel the moment and not find compassion. You cannot open your heart and feel the moment and not express more authentically. And it's not possible to express more authentically and not have positive benefits. First, in your electromagnetics, your vibration, and secondarily in your physiology, all the intracellular communications in your body. So you will become more youthful, more agile, more resilient as you go forward in life. Yes, really. So, rewriting the past, let's look, if you would, at some of the things that have happened. You don't even need to be specific, like when I was 5, so and so did this to me, but just, yeah, there was something that happened when I was young that was disturbing for me or felt traumatic or caused me to kind of shut down and not want to express my truth. Um, or beliefs you've had, perspectives, right? Like a lot of things happen over the last several years, and people sort of polarized on their perspectives. Like, we're right about this, and those guys are the devil. Oh no, we're right about this, and those guys are the evil ones. And it's like, what's actually true here? So, did you develop some strong opinions or perspectives that maybe aren't serving you? And I'm not saying life needs to be all gray zone. I'm saying one of the markers of health is the ability to consider perspectives outside of the ones you have held. I'll repeat that because it's so important. One of the most powerful markers of health, right? Vitality, resilience, moving through, getting more healthy and agile as you go forward, is your ability to consider perspectives outside of the ones you have held. Doesn't mean you jump on board for them and you're like, yeah, you guys are right. It just means you're like, interesting point of view. And you don't have to hold with a white knuckled grip on to your own. Like, it is going to kill you. Just hold them lightly. Here's what I have found to be true, but I'm open for enhancement of that, right? We always are changing the way we think based on further information. So, what about staying open? Let me get more information and see what I think now, or what I know now, or what feels resonant for me now. So, the openness to new ways of seeing things, this allows your system to open and allows you to receive at a higher level, receiving money, energy, time, love, all the things that make us come more fully alive, the resources, opportunities. And so rewriting your past is like, would I be willing to maybe move through some difficult things I didn't have the capacity to move through at the time, right? If there was a trauma or a situation, am I willing to release some of the judgments or really solid, hardened perspectives I've held and kind of just get curious? What's actually true here, right? So all this is about softening, right? Physically soften your body and become curious. What is actually true here? What am I ready to let go? And then the third thing I wanted to share in this episode is the true self will always bring you more health. Kind of rhymed and unintentionally. The true self will always bring you more health. I know that doesn't really rhyme, but anyway, it's a little harmonic. When you are connecting with your body, with sensation, and you're softening, breathing a little more fully, you're going to feel things more, not less. To the 1950s collective consciousness, that's a bad thing. Don't feel, shut down your emotions and just follow the rules. But we're really kind of obviously not going to thrive if we continue to hold that. In fact, our emotions are a really potent inner GPS guiding us in every choice in our lives. So I'm not saying buy into the emotions or like, this is a histrionic. Feel them and breathe them. Emotions usually in a healthy system will move through in like 12 seconds. And they're meant to make your life richer. And so a system that's open energy system, flow of energy, allows energy, emotion is energy in motion, to release very swiftly and fluidly. So you could feel like, so deeply touched by something that you see, or move to tears, but it's like a mix between joy and sadness, and it's this richness of life. You can be allowing more love in your life through grief, through receiving the grief, accepting your grief, moving through the grief, and then the grief, which opens you to love, releases, right? It moves through, and what remains is the love. What remains is the openness and receptivity to greater love. So the emotions are meant to open us to a richer life. And if you've ever moved through grief, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you've had grief and resisted it because you're just like, this is freaking painful. What are you talking about? You've had grief and you've embraced it and allowed yourself to fully surrender to it completely, right? It's what you resist that persists. When you surrender, it will move through. Please comment if you know what I'm talking about here. If you've ever had an experience where like grief has actually enhanced your ability to love, to have compassion, to have appreciation for your life, or if you're struggling with grief and you'd like assistance moving through that. So we're here for you. Okay. The point is that when we do this and we're dropped into the body, we are feeling, we are sensing, we're breathing smoothly, we feel things more fully. We are moved by the life force that animates us in a higher way. We know what to say when, we know what to do when, we know how to find the path that leads to our intended life. Right? When we're shut down from that, we're like, tell me what to do. Okay, so I do this, then I do this, and I read a book that told me to do that. So, okay, I'll do that. Right? When you're disconnected, you just got to go to your head and try to figure it out. Not going to get very far with that. Open, because the true self, who you truly are, without the identity, without the past, it will immediately enhance your health. Right? It doesn't always feel good because you might truly feel like out of alignment with your job. And if you just kind of like stay in your head and self-medicate, maybe you're like busy scrolling or like popping something, I don't know, you might not really notice. So you're like, I'm good. I got it going on. Or it's a new year and I'm motivated, right? But you're just doubling down on the suppression and the management tactics that like make it sort of okay. Versus, whoa, stop the addictive behaviors and I'm going to actually feel what's here. And it might at first not feel so good. Don't judge it as wrong. Welcome what you feel. Get curious. Who am I without this illness or the symptoms? Who am I without my job? Who am I without my, family member or roles? What's here? And you drop in. You will feel something, you will sense things, you will have thoughts, right? The only thing that's ever actually happening is I'm feeling a sensation or an emotion and I'm having a thought. That's it. The rest is story. And that's where the trauma drama can get locked into the system. So start living in the moment, allowing in big or small ways a little bit more of the expression of the true self. Whoa, here's what I'd really like to say. Of course, be loving and kind, but make space. Make space to move the energy of what you really have to say or what you're really feeling or, this is who I really am. And this is what feels good to me. We will have a world that works when we each awaken and choose to live the true self. It's like the easiest thing in the world. There will not be chronic disease propagated in a world where we're connected within and allowing that expression authentically. So are you ready for that? Are you ready to join me in this? Because I'm so passionate about this. I'm choosing to live my authentic every day, the good, the bad, the ugly, the messy, the awesome. It's just all life. That's what being truly alive is. With self-forgiveness, it's all actually beautiful. And you are too. Once you decide that, you start living a whole different self. And it's not a self tied into an identity. Now I'm a positive person. It's a self tied into the now. That is my invitation to you. I love you guys. I'm so glad you're here. Please share this with those people that you love. Comment, did this touch you? Did this mean anything to you? Are you ready to start softening around some of the identities, judgments, beliefs, past, and start tuning into the now? And please let me know how your body responds to this. I'm here every week at 11 a.m. Mountain Time on Wednesdays for MindBody TV. The self-diagnostic quiz is at drkimd.com for you to get started and just like start playing with these tools. Let your system open and see what happens. I look forward to seeing you soon. Lots of love.